Good evening and welcome to another edition of Kim's Corner. I'm Kim Brown, your host, and today I have with me Mr. Donald Jackson.
Ma'am.
And Mr. Donald, and this is a young one. This is a young activist, and he's everywhere. Of course, you know who his mother is.
Yeah, of course.
So he's a chip off the old block.
Yes, yes.
And she's Donna Jackson, and she's always out there advocating and activating and everything.
And mobilizing.
Yeah, mobilizing. Her and Cassandra.
Cassandra, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're out there. I tried to get Cassandra. Cassandra said, no. She said, I'll talk when I'm out there, but I'm not going to talk on your show, Kim. I was like, all right.
We'll get her one of these days.
Yeah, we'll get her. So let us know. I see you at the city council meeting. A lot.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
what do we have to say about the vote November 20th that they did? And I got a couple of questions for you. Who you think your next mayor's going to be, and who you think your next council people are going to be? It's a lot of them running. Go ahead. I gave you something to run with.
Well, going back to November 20th, that date was no other than something historic in our time, and it showed how the democratic process was taken advantage of, and how now we need to stand up and fight, unless we won't have any more rights left. I'm not sure the particulars, I'm not sure who knows what, but long story short, the council president, along with a few other people, I'm not going to mention any names, tried to, I know.
No, go ahead.
tried to nominate a quote-unquote community person as the person to fill in Donald Payne's vacant seat. Of course, he was elected to Congress. I don't know how that happened, but he was elected to Congress. And on that date, a Southport councilman tried to intervene in the process to say, well, we have our nomination. The council president at the time ignored his motion and tried to proceed on to the vote to have that person sworn in as council person. And in the interim of that, that's when everything got out of hand. The council people stood up and said, well, you know what, since you want to ignore the democratic process, we're going to shut down the meeting. And that's what happened. And in the event of that happening, a few people got maced. Rahman Muhammad was arrested. Street doctor got maced, and I had to help him to the hospital in the ambulance. And then everything just got discombobulated. And since then, I don't think the image of those people, and not think, but it hasn't. Their image hasn't improved at all, and they are looked at as the targets.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked somebody else. Some of those people who participated in that vote are running again. Do you think that's going to hurt their chances?
Most likely it will. And us that's out there mobilizing for the for the people that we need to see in office, we'll be mentioning that to the city of Newark, and we need to let them know, look, these people ignored the democratic process already, and if you get them back in, they're going to ignore it time after time after time, and ignore your voice and ignore your vote, and we can't have that in the council at all.
Okay.
2014 is time for change.
Yeah. Okay. I now always see you too at the school board meetings. And
yeah, that's
an animal that has gotten out of control.
Yes, it has.
So,
I'll take it from there. Briefly to talk about that issue. The Newark Public Schools was taken over by the state of New Jersey in the year 1995. That was approximately 18 years ago.
Yeah, about 18 years ago.
18 years ago. At that time, they said the Newark Public Schools failed to do its job. A lot of mismanagement, misspending, misfunding, and the whole nine. And 18 years later, we have the same exact thing with the state running us. So, that tells you a whole lot about the state of New Jersey.
It's even worse. Even the curriculum is worse.
You know what the problem is? Education is not a political game. And people have stood on that platform for the longest and used it for their own personal benefit. Instead of benefiting the kids, they used it to benefit their career, benefit their office. Mayor Booker, unfortunately, we hear him talking about education, but the education he's talking about and the reform he's talking about is talking about the destruction of Newark Public Schools. You got the 4 C's: Christy, Surf, Cammie, Corey. Gotta go. They are destroying our public school system. Destroying it. And in light into that, to also mention to everyone out there that I, along with another community activist by the name of Sharon Smith, filed a Title VI complaint against North Public Schools with the Department of Ed for its discrimination against African Americans and the Latino community for ignoring our voice when it came down to closing schools and co-locations. They blatantly disrespected us. We told them that closing certain schools and certain programs were not only going to hurt us, but cause more problems and cause a melee of issues in our public school system, and it has. Prime example, I'll name you some schools. 13th Avenue.
Huh.
That was merged with MLK.
Huh.
Okay, now
And I've been in there too, and you talk about a monster
Okay.
and an animal that is out of control.
Yep.
It was a zoo.
That's one school. Next school, Westside High School. We closed Westside. We closed Westside NAF down the hill at Morton Street and merged that with Big Westside.
Yep, they
Those
did.
students are running amok in there. The unfortunately, the administration has taken no action, and and to sidebar that, everybody say, "Oh, our kids are out of control," but as the adults, what are the adults, doing to fix that? You know what I'm saying? It is time for our parents to get involved. It is time for us to demand action from the superintendent's office, to demand action from our schools, and tell them to get active in our buildings.
And another thing too, I've noticed about some of the administrators, some of them are really young, and I don't have anything against them being young. But when I was growing up and when I went through the school system, most of the people who became principals and vice principals had taught, they had been in the system for 25 or 30 years. Now you got Sally Sue that just graduated, that's coming in, that's running, and not running things, not visible, no visibility, because you have to take control of your school. That's your school. And you need to take control. And I go around and I go to a lot of different schools and where the administration is not visible at all. And the kids are running amok.
You have to display discipline in your building. For one, to speak onto your point about the young administrators, that's definite a fact. In the state of New Jersey, it is a requirement that you have to have at least 3 years teaching, and I believe it's 1 year supervisory. See, there's steps in becoming a principal. You can't just come out of school with a master's and think, oh, you know what, I'm going to go be principal at Westside, or I'm going to be principal at Barringer. That's not how it works. But unfortunately, because the 4 C's are involved in this
They do what they want to do.
The city of Newark is in non-compliance with almost every law there is in education in the state of New Jersey and in the United States. But yet again, because everybody's connected, we have these issues. And it's a problem that's been going on for years. It didn't just start with Cammie. It didn't start with Christy either. Okay, North Public Schools has been in disarray for the past 20 years. And going back to the year 2009, I and others, along with Donna and Cassandra, we used to pass out those flyers talking about 20 schools closing.
And nobody paid attention.
as a
No
matter of
one
fact,
paid attention.
Speaking to that, North Public Schools sent out a flyer saying our information was false. Now we fast forward 3-4 years later, you got Brown Academy, NAF, Martin Luther King, and the list goes on. You got Elliott Street School up in the North Ward that caught fire and hasn't been rebuilt yet.
Nope.
And that was.
And they took those people's houses too. They tore down people's
West
houses
Side.
on the side too to build
They
that
brought
school.
those houses.
And the same thing with Ridge Street School. They
Yep.
were supposed to get an addition. They've been waiting. I don't know how long. And they made those people sold their houses or whatever. They took those people's houses. That lot has been empty now for what? 10 years?
Yep.
15 years?
And to go into my next little part about education and talk about special needs. In the year 2010, 2011 school year, I believe it was, we closed down AVC, Academy of Vocational Careers. That was the high school where most of our special needs students went for high school. They trained them in vocational careers, got them in different
Was that
programs.
Montgomery?
Yes.
That was at
That
Montgomery.
was the
That was a
different
good
name
program.
for Montgomery.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes. The district saw it fit to close that program. And
Why?
those students, money, power, politics, all the nonsense that affect us living people.
Now are they closing Samuel Berlinger? Because that's a
Yes, they
special
are.
school too.
They're planning on doing that too.
So
And those
what are they going to
severely-
do? Yes, because what are they
Severely.
going to do with those children?
They'll-
Because
they'll be
they
mainstream.
are.
They'll be mainstream. They'll be going to the regular schools. They're closing Bruce Street, School for the Deaf. Yes. and just talking about it just gets me so angry because the city of Newark needs to be in arms. They are closing the schools where our special need children go.
And they need that special attention. They need those schools. And Burlington, those kids that are there, they need to stay at that school.
And they need the programs and the support that they have from teachers. I have a family member that's a teacher there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wonderful, excellent. She's a double major with education, special needs education. I forget what the other major is, but she works well with those students. Okay, she was a teacher at I can't even think of the name of the school, but that was another school that closed off of Orange Street, right down the street from Baxter Terrace.
Oh, Burnett.
Burnett Street.
Burnett
right.
Street.
That was another school that closed, and it went to a charter school. And,
So they closed Burnett already.
That's been closed for like 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say since 2010. Either 2010, 2011. Yep. They phased that out.
Okay, so is it a charter school
It's a charter school. And see, my thing is, everybody want to say, oh, don't talk about charter schools, charter schools, charter schools, charter schools. Let me just say this. The destruction of Newark public schools and the destruction of public schools throughout the country. That's what charters are here for. Okay? Some of them might have good programs. I'm not here to say that all are bad because that would be over-exaggerating. That would be over the top. And as a educated person, you don't want to make those rash statements. But for the majority of them, they are backed by billion-dollar corporations. Okay? They have philanthropy money, for them, like the mongols, like the Facebook, Zuckerberg, and those people. And if these organizations and these charters are funding these schools, why do you need public dollars and public buildings?
Exactly. And on that note, I'm going to take a break. We got to hear a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, better watch Kim Corner. Don't you touch that down.
Growing up in these times, we as youth are so tired.
What are you tired of?
I'm tired of seeing rest in peace t-shirts.
I'm tired of being ignored.
Tired of ignorance.
I'm tired of murders. I'm tired of murders. I'm tired of murder.
I'm tired of schools closing.
Tired of the stereotypes.
Tired of the achievement gap.
I'm tired of no jobs.
I'm tired of people getting bullied.
How will you use your voice to help things get better in your community?
What will you use your power for?
And welcome back. And I'm here with advocate, activist, Donald Jackson.
Yes,
and when we left, we were talking about the charter schools and the public schools and their
Yes.
money. And yes, why do they still receive public money if they're getting all that money from all those backers? Because they're saying that they're public schools too, but don't they get more money than Newark Public Schools?
Well, in
Stuff that are not a charter?
contrast, the ratio would be less that they receive from the public school. The numbers right now aren't on top of my head, but I do have them on paper. Let's say North Public Schools get 20,000 per people. Charter schools may get 15, and that might be a little skewed. So, folks
Okay.
at home, don't beat me up, but it might be a little skewed. But compared to charter schools can raise money. Charter schools can get public funds from organizations like Prudential, TD, all these billion-dollar corporations. See, they can get money like that. As far as public schools, it's a chain of command and it's a process. Charter schools can raise money at 5 times as quickly as a public school can. So the money is very different. The policies are different. Charter schools are not public schools. Let's get that in mind. Charter schools are not public schools. Okay? They receive public funds. So that's why they have to follow state in federal guidelines, but they are not public schools. And one thing I also want to dispel about charter schools, because everybody claims charter schools are so much better than public schools because they're well disciplined and they're well tamed. Well, let me just throw this out here for a second, and then we'll leave it as it is. Charter school can accept to maybe 300 students, versus the public school that have to accept as many students as apply.
Exactly.
And we cannot turn anybody around. You got the gun in hand. I got to counsel you, baby you, and give you all the services you need because you are a child in the public school system. Charter school, if you have an issue, I'm trying to bring you up on grade level, but you're not on grade level, I can dispel you from my school.
Exactly,
send
but
you
keep
to
your
the
money
charter
because we're going to
school.
keep you till October, and we're going to keep that money. So that money doesn't even follow them when they go back to the public school.
And it won't mess my test scores up, but it'll mess the North Public School test scores up. And another thing about the test score data, and see, family back at home and here, what we need to stop doing is allowing these tests to rule our minds. Okay, these tests are yet again nothing but corporate America coming into the classroom and ruling us. I've only been out of school for 3 years, but if I can ask someone who's a little bit older than me and ask them to go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, do they remember taking a test in
We did.
every grade?
We did.
In every subject?
We did.
A, B,
It
C,
didn't
D
happen.
does not test your merit and does not test your understanding of a subject. A, B, C does not test whether you're capable of succeeding in this world. It does not test. And
And they
unfortunately,
put too much emphasis on it.
and unfortunately, we so busy preparing for the test, we can't prepare our students for real world college experience.
Exactly.
And see, we got to also be careful when we talk about, I want my kids to go to college. I want my kids to go to college. Everybody's not made for college, and I'm not saying that to be negative.
That's right.
I'm not made for college. Unfortunately, I'm in it, but fortunately, I am in there. Not unfortunate, but everybody's not made for college. Okay.
And some people like to have other skills, which
Right.
they took a lot. They took all the home economics out of the school system. They took most of the woodworking, wood shop classes because some people are hands-on. They're not
Right.
going to have that book knowledge all
Right.
the way through, and they need other skills. Now you have to go to a high school, like a vocational high school. The only high school, public school that has those things is North Vocational. 'Cause
Malcolm
they
X-
have a culinary arts school there, and they do
Malcolm
the
X
wood
Shabazz,
shop.
we still have. I believe we
still
still
have
have the
it.
auto shop.
Yeah, they had it when I worked there because I taught at Shabazz for 2 years, and they had it then. I didn't know whether they still had it now.
Yeah, I believe they still have it. And see, and understand me, it's not to say that everybody's not college material or they're dumb. It's not that at all. We don't need 500 million doctors, lawyers. We don't need those. We definitely don't need no more politicians. We need mechanics. We need people to work in the blue collar industry, the white collar industry, the business industry. We need all of that, and we need a well diverse system. The goal for the schools is to get our children on reading level, mathematics level, because that is definitely something critical in our district, where our kids cannot function math wise. And there's a shortage on math and science teachers, and that's something that we really need to address. Because if we're going to compete, we need to be able to add and understand what formulas are.
And read and write.
Exactly.
And read and write.
And that's a big problem. So, I'm for public schools, strong public schools. You fix the public schools, you fix the problem in our community. And community, we need to get together and start advocating and acting like we need to save our schools.
And this is a young advocate. How old are you?
I'm 20.
He's 20.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing this?
Well, I can trace my roots to activism back.
In the womb?
I won't go that far.
Because of your mother.
I won't go that far, but I'll go back to 2003. 2003, I think it was, maybe before that. I was at Barringer High School with my aunt / mother, and I was handing out flyers on Park Avenue. I think that was the time where West Side was coming to Kinney.
That's another problem that's going on too now, because now they're going to be sending those kids. The district is going to start placing these kids now. I think the parents are going to get more involved then.
First,
and another thing is that incident that happened at Louise A. Spencer.
well, I just
Go ahead,
let me just
because
touch
we're
on that.
running.
First off, we need to be careful. First off, that whole high school fair policy thing is totally unfair. Parents, you need to be in uproar about that, because you're not going to tell me I got to apply to 5 different schools of my choice, and if I don't get into any 5, then I'm going to be sent to a school that has space. No. That's not public. and it's not fair. Okay, I don't understand what no public schools are doing, but they've lost their mind. See, that's why Cameron needs to go. And to touch on the Louisa A. Spencer thing, and it's been a problem in our district for a very long time, and it's safety.
Yeah, and safety now, and it's a public health issue now.
Yes, it is.
And crime is a public health issue.
Yes, it is. And North, we need to get it together. We need to stop allowing our children, because that's who they are, my peers, to run the streets, wreak havoc, and make us live in fear. We need to stop allowing that. But one thing I do want to press on is the safety issue in our public school system. Parents, and this is where we need to step in. We need to start advocating for more security, more police, and more activities after school. I'm going to just pose this question: why weren't the doors locked? In terms of that.
Well, they said somebody opened the door, so I don't know. I heard different stories. Somebody opened the door. I don't know whether the doors were locked or somebody opened the door. But the thing that bothers me is that when the incident happened, a lot of the parents didn't know what was going on. The kids were locked in there until 5 o'clock. They're coming to pick up their kids. They can't get their children out of school.
That's what caused the panic.
They couldn't get their children out of school. Parents didn't know what was going on. The kids were locked down in there until 5 o'clock. And the superintendent has yet made any type of statement to the parents. She's been ghost.
Well, Cammy, the superintendent.
She's been ghost.
She's finished.
She's been ghost.
She has
and
no
I can
confidence.
understand why the superintendent wouldn't come out and address the public. Because parents were, I guess they were frantic. I know I would have been if I'd had a child in that school and I didn't know she was on lockdown.
Well, let me ask you this. You got police officers with snipers running into the school building, and they won't let you see your children. They won't tell you what's going on. You got kids calling you on your cell phone, because this was a report. Kids calling their parents in cell phones in the back of the classroom in a panic. That's why.
Because I know they didn't know what was going on.
So, we first off, I'm not going to comment on the issue because it's still fresh and still details pouring in. So for me, I need to know more information. But, North Public Schools for a while have been suffering with this safety issue, and they need to get on the ball. Parents, you need to demand safety from your people at your schools.
So what else is going on? All right, who do you think is going on with this? A lot of people running for council in 2014. We got a lot of... We got a lot of candidates going up. It's probably going to be about 40 people running in 2014.
You know what? And as much as I hate to say this, and as crazy as it may sound, it makes me almost want to leave Newark. Why do 50 people need to be running? For what? First off, for me, my problem. If you can't spell municipal council, that would be my first. That's my first question. Spell municipal. Okay? Second, tell me what the issues are in the city of Newark. And then I'm going to stop you right there, because you don't need to tell me, because we all know. Crime, school, jobs.
So we need solutions. And we talked about that earlier. We need solutions, because we all know what the problems are.
Exactly. I'm tired of going to...
So who do you think the next mayor is going to be?
I hope Ras Baraka. I'm not going to name names, but certain people don't need to be mayor. You get certain people. You'll have the same regime for the last 8 years. You have a political power in this county that'll rule over this city, where our community will be disenfranchised. Okay, we've been disenfranchised for a mighty long time, but the last 8 years have been extremely rough. A lot of us are losing our jobs at the city level. We're losing our jobs in the board. Okay, we're struggling to keep our jobs at the county level. We're struggling to keep our jobs at the state level. We're struggling to keep our businesses in this city. It's like if you're not a $1 billion corporation, or you're not putting up a $1 billion project on Broad Street, you're not winning in the city, and that's a shame. It's you know what it also is? It's like an attack on the taxpayers and the residents. See, we get faced with this tax lien if we don't pay in a certain amount of time. We get faced with this water shut off if we don't pay in a certain time. We get this water rate increase. We'll get this tax increase. But yet we got these $1 billion corporations. I got the port right here who owe us how much money? Prudential it's more than 70 million, because it was 70 million last time it was checked in 2010. So it's probably double that. Well, not double, but it's definitely another couple of million that they owe us in taxes. plus the 99-year tax abatement they have on their property, and they haven't even paid the city payroll tax.
Yeah, and it falls on us. Well, you know what? It's good to see a young man
Yeah, thank you.
out there,
Thank you.
you know, because you can advocate for the youth, you know, and it's good to
And
see
it's
a young
more-
man
it's-
out there.
it's more me out
Went
there.
Yeah.
Trust me, we're coming out in
And
numbers.
we need that because
by the
we need
second.
to hear the young people because you are the future.
Yes,
You are the future.
and we taking North back.
That's it, and I'm glad. And I'm glad to
Yes.
hear it, and I'm so glad to have you on my show.
Thank you, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you again.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody for watching Kim's Corner. I'll see you next time. And that's it. We're out.
Hi, I'm Larry Holmes. Watch Kim Corner every week. She's a knockout.